Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Well, it's a tough one for the Cuse. Final score out in Miami Gardens, 38-10. Syracuse falls at the hands of the Miami Hurricanes, ranked 18th in the country. But with that being said, Syracuse men's basketball, an 83-43 win inside the Dome over Delaware State today. Welcome in to CuseSportsTalk.com as we unpack a little bit of a double dip Saturday here with the men's basketball team coming away with a win. The football team, unfortunately, not the case down in Miami. But we're here to break it all down. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on CuseSportsTalk.com. Feel free to leave any questions in the chat. It's just going to be more of a sit down, have a conversation, a little more informal, if you will, because we're not on the radio. So we don't have to be quite as formal and buttoned up, if you will. So give us a ring as well. Phone lines are still open. 315-437-7644 is the number to call if you want to chime in. If you want to break down the madness with us here on CuseSportsTalk.com. One more time, 315-437-7644 is the number to call, as Jordan gives us a nice white balance and a camera focus. So we appreciate Jordan producing the show behind the scenes. Jordan and I went during halftime, and we got a fantastic coffee, might I add, which was much needed. It's got me fired up, ready to go and break down these two games. So I'm looking in the chat. People seem to be calling for 3-9 for this Syracuse football team. And it's hard to disagree with that. I just don't see where Cuse is going to win another game. Boston College struggling in their own right mightily. But they put up a decent fight against Notre Dame last week, who's right now a top 10 team in the country and probably going to have a good shot if they win out to get into the college football playoff. The biggest thing with Boston College that stands out is they're still getting fairly competent quarterback play, and Syracuse is not. 38-10 final score down in Miami Gardens at Hard Rock Stadium. Phone lines open, 315-437-7644. Let's peek at this box score here. First and foremost, I almost thought Cuse wasn't going to amass 100 yards through the air once again, and they almost didn't. Ricky Collins goes 12 of 25, 85 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns in the game. Joe Filardi comes in at the very end, 3 of 3, believe it or not, considering he completed 4 passes all of last week, an entire game against North Carolina. 39 yards, throws a touchdown. Give it to the kid. He threw a touchdown for what that's worth. And it's even crazier to break down who ended up catching it, right? Washington Baker, not on the bingo card as far as catching a touchdown in this game if you're a Syracuse fan. The Orange amassed 124 yards through the air, 161 on the ground. That, I guess, was a bright spot. Yasin Willis, 13 carries, 63 yards. I mean, Miami was only giving up 75 rushing yards a game. They were number 3 in the country in rush defense. So the fact that Syracuse was able to almost double that, 161 on the ground, I did feel okay about that. Like, I did walk away from that thinking that was a nice takeaway. Something to, I guess, silver lining, hang your hat on if you're Syracuse. But in the first half, it was bizarre because they were so in the game, and it was just this muck, mess, defensive stalemate, back and forth, like barely getting the ball across midfield, punting it for both teams. Nobody's moving the ball. And then when it unraveled, it just unraveled. And you knew it was a matter of time. You knew it was a matter of time with what Miami had been bringing to the table all season. Like, there's no way Cuse is just going to stifle them like this. And you had a lot more faith in Miami's offense to get something going than you did Syracuse's to get something going. But then Syracuse just kind of hands them the opportunities, right? Taking you to the end of that first half. It was 0-0 going into like the last home stretch of that second quarter. And all of a sudden the halftime scores 14-14. It was rough. It was mishandled again by the coaching staff at the end of the half with some of the decision-making there. And Miami ends up taking advantage, putting up 14 before the break. Obviously, the interception from Ricky Collins is in a terrible spot, right? But on top of it, you allow the big plays, and Miami capitalizes, and it got away in a hurry. You go into the locker room, 14-zip, and you come out, and Miami does more of what they did. Cuse had an opportunity, too, to put points on the board at the end of that first half, and they come away empty. And that was where the coaching blunders came in. It's like, how do you let yourself come away empty there, not even a field goal? Felt like you should have had a touchdown out of it. And just a debacle of a game, once again, for Syracuse. Miami brought the pressure all day long. 7 sacks for this Miami defense for 53 yards. Syracuse did get 2 sacks. They were early in the game. It felt like they had a nice pass rush out of the gate. And that kind of evaporated as the game would go on to cover. And speaking of covering, Syracuse covered, which was the wildest backdoor scenario you could have seen, with a Joe Filardi touchdown after completing 4 passes last week. But they covered, so they made some bettors happy or incredibly angry. The spread was 28.5. They lost the game by 28 points. That was a wild backdoor cover at the tail end there. So, at least shout out to Cuse for covering in that regard. Turnovers, the Orange turned it over 3 times. Did not force any turnovers. Had the Chris Peel interception taken back. They called defensive holding well before the ball was ever thrown. Do with that what you will. I don't even think it was the wrong call. It was just unfortunate. I didn't think Carson Beck was like great in this game by any means. Like, I did not walk away from this feeling impressed by Miami. I just think Syracuse is so inept on offense that that's just kind of how the game went. All right, Jordan's got something queued up for us here. And Jordan, I'm going to ask you to cue up the band as we go through Syracuse's drive chart in this game. So, Jordan, if you could cue up the band for us for Syracuse's drive chart in this game. Here we go. Syracuse punted on its first drive of the game. 8 plays, 25 yards. Syracuse punted on its second drive of the game. Syracuse would punt again on the third drive of the game. Syracuse would punt for a 4th consecutive time. That's 4 straight punts. Ricky Collins would throw a Syracuse interception. Syracuse would fumble on the ensuing drive. Syracuse would kick a field goal to score points. That was in half number 2. Syracuse would punt again. The Orange would throw its second interception of the game. Syracuse would punt. Syracuse would turn it over on downs. Syracuse would score a touchdown for an unbelievable backdoor cover on the final possession of offense in this 38-10 loss to Miami. So one more time for you, the drive chart reads for Syracuse offensively. Punt, 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 interception, fumble, field goal, punt, interception, punt, a turnover on downs, and by goodness, a touchdown from Joseph Franklin Filardi. That's how it was for Syracuse today on the football field. A team that amassed just 285 yards of total offense, 125 through the air, 161 on the ground, turned it over 3 times, and were sacked 7 times with 11 opposing tackles for loss. So where do you go from here if you're Syracuse football? It feels as if, some people want to see Luke Carney the next game. You can still go ahead and essentially redshirt him if he plays one more. Some want to see Ricky more. I say you just ride with Ricky the rest of the year. Like, that's where you're at. That's where your NIL resources are going. It's kind of like when you buy food at the grocery store and you got leftovers, you don't want them to go to waste. That was expensive. You don't want them to go to waste. So you just got to eat it. Whether it was the best meal you ever cooked, whether it's what you're craving tonight, you just got to eat it. And Syracuse is spending a lot of money for Ricky Collins to be here. So I think you got to go with Ricky Collins the rest of the way. That's my take on it. I think that they should play Ricky Collins for the rest of the season. Stop mixing up the quarterbacks. You live and die with Ricky. That's the position you put yourself in. That's how I feel. Upcoming games for the Orange, they got Notre Dame in South Bend. Woof. They got Boston College in the Dome. See if they can find a way against Boston College, which, by the way, I want to say I thought the defense did a nice job throughout a lot of the first half. Not much you can do when the offense does what they just had read to you on the drive chart. So Syracuse will miss out on a bowl game for the first time since 2021 when they went 5-7, 2-6 in ACC play. In 2022, remember, they went 7-6, lost in the Pinstripe Bowl. In 2023, they went 6-7, lost in the Boca Raton Bowl. Last year, of course, 10-3, 5-3 in conference, won the Holiday Bowl. Year one of the Fran Brown era. The unfortunate thing about this, too, that feels like it runs deeper is the fact that the recruiting is just getting probably more difficult and difficult game by game. Calvin Russell was in the house. That's the 5-star phenom wide receiver that Syracuse got to commit, right? For those that don't remember. He's been to 3 Syracuse games this year, folks. Calvin Russell's been to 3 Syracuse games this year. He went to the Duke game. Syracuse didn't score a touchdown. He went to the North Carolina game last week. Syracuse, again, didn't score a touchdown. He went to this game, stayed home. Miami kid, South Florida kid, went to this game against Miami. The Orange did not score a touchdown till they did at the very end. That stat almost held up till Filardi found that backdoor cover. But basically, the Orange didn't get a touchdown with Miami's full unit out there and with Syracuse's full unit out there. So, not great. I trust in Fran's ability to continue to recruit, but worth noting. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. Give us a ring. We can chat football. We can chat basketball. And I think that we should flip the page and chat basketball a little bit here. But first, I'll scroll through and acknowledge anything anybody has to say in the Twitch chat here and have that dialogue with you guys because I'm definitely curious to hear everybody's thoughts in the Twitch chat on that one. Let's see. As we scroll on up here. Saw a lot of the positives, Nick says, to take away today. Maybe on the defensive side of the ball. Okay. All right. Florida guy says, Fran Brown said, as long as they're having fun, that's all that matters. I don't know about all that. I don't remember Fran saying that, but I'll believe you. Yeah, I agree, Rob Cuse. The players are still competing. That's tough. The offense isn't there, right? The players are still playing. That is a big kudos to the culture that Fran has built. I totally agree that they are still playing and they're not quitting, right? Should have been 7-14 at half. Would it have made a difference? No. Yeah, it probably should have been. I don't know that they should have got 14. I mean, it's a real blunder at the end of the first half. You almost held them. I thought we were going to go into the locker room 0-0. And then that didn't transpire. Now, Miami had the nice drive. They had the trick play. Beck scores the touchdown. Is what it is. But the interception was rough. And then the way Syracuse fumbled the end of the half and wasn't able to get points out of it, that was worse. Doesn't make a difference, Zach says. Season's over. Yeah. I mean, you're not making a bowl at this point, so I hear you there. Carson Beck and Ricky Collins tied for touchdowns. Yeah. It was not a great showing for the Cuse. Let's see what Philly's most wanted. If a bowl game is hopeless and none of the quarterbacks are capable of winning at this level right now, or with Ricky, not at all, why continue investing time and reps and value experience into a quarterback that isn't coming back and desperately in need of a backup? Phillies, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Maybe you invest in somebody else, develop somebody else. The problem is, like, who is that right now? Because Steve's going to be the guy. And to be completely transparent with you, I don't know anything. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know something specific. But I don't think that Steve's backup is on the roster right now. I don't know if the starting quarterback next year is on the roster right now. What happens if you have the opportunity to really go get a big boy that hits the portal and Syracuse is willing to buck up and pay? And they feel that he's even better than Steve. Remember, the sample size for Steve is still pretty small. Loved what I saw from the fourth quarter of the UConn game till the second his Achilles was snapped. Loved what we saw, right? Cooked against Colgate, cooked against Clemson till he got hurt. Fourth quarter against UConn was beautiful. A couple of really nice drives. Got it done, won the game. But before that, there were some growing pains. And there were times everybody was saying, Angeli doesn't got it. Let's see this Ricky Collins kid. So the sample size is still pretty relatively small on Steve. Love Steve. I'm all for Steve. I'd love to see Steve be Syracuse's quarterback next year. I feel confident, comfortable with that. He's perfect for the offense, pocket passer, was leading the nation in passing. I'm all on Steve's train. But I'm just saying, don't throw away the thought of Fran creating more competition in the room. Because I think this year showed him that you can't be too deep at quarterback. You can't. Wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if they go portaling and bring in another guy. Whether he starts or whether he's Steve's backup, that'll be what's sorted out. I don't think every quarterback on the roster right now is what you're going to have next year. That's for sure. The phone lines are open. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. We got our boy Nick Aquino on the line from out in Vegas. We're going to bring Nick on right now. Nick, how we doing? But first, I got to ask you, Nick, is it Nick Aquino? Please spell it out for us.
Well, how about you combine them?
Aquino. That's how we say it?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Aquino. How we doing, brother?
I'm good, pal. How are you?
You know, I'd be better if the Cuse had the dub in the bag, but, you know, it's all right.
But we couldn't really expect that, right? We talked about that pregame. But I will tell you, I took a lot of positives away from that game. I'm not nearly as upset as I thought I would be.
Okay. Let's hear it.
You started 4 out of 5 linemen that are going to be back next year on the offensive side of the ball. And they're all getting good playing time. I really like Kelly Kill in the backfield. I think he's going to get better and better and better. Defensively, I think they played out of their minds the first half.
Yeah.
And, again, the offense just didn't help them, right?
Yeah.
And Fran played more freshmen today and sophomores than he has all season long. Nyandoro played real good on defense, I thought. And the score doesn't indicate the game, in my opinion. We physically hung with them, right? Miami's offensive line has been talked about all season long as the best in the country. And they really struggled against our defense for the majority of the game.
Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree.
So the future is beyond bright. I don't think recruiting is going to slip at all because Fran's telling these guys, listen, this is a youth movement. You see who I'm playing. I don't have a quarterback, right?
Right.
So I don't think that's an issue. But I will tell you, I think Ricky is just mentally not capable of playing right now. He doesn't have the instinct. I think he's in his head too much. I would not be shocked if they start Filardi against Notre Dame.
Really? You think so?
I would not be shocked one bit.
What are your thoughts on the whole situation where everybody's saying right now in our chat, like, hey, why waste your time on Ricky? He's probably not going to be here anyways. What is your take on that? Like, would you give the reps to somebody? Because Filardi's probably going to be here. He's a lacrosse player, first and foremost. He's here to play lacrosse. We know that.
Correct.
And they're gearing up for another Final Four run, hopefully, on the lacrosse field. So Filardi will be here. What are your thoughts on all that? And also, like I was just saying before when you were calling in, I don't think whether Angeli starts or they bring somebody in that starts, that number 2 or number 1 guy's not even on the roster right now for quarterback position next year. What do you think?
I would agree with you. And I'll tell you, Ricky Collins is gone. Jakari Williams is gone. The only question mark is Luke Carney. Is he coming back?
Yeah.
Don't really know because no one has really seen anything of what he can do. But he has made he did make a comment last week, I believe, where he said that they have to have more confidence in him, the coaches.
Yeah.
So if you feel like they don't have confidence in him, maybe that opens the door. I don't know. But Ricky, Jakari are gone, and Beelan, I heard, is getting moved to a different position next year.
Fine with that. That's cool. He's a good athlete.
Yep. So your backup quarterback, if anybody comes back, is Filardi, so you might as well start him.
Right. Yeah. All right. I can hear that argument. It's so tough because Filardi last week.
I don't know what Jakari did, but he did something to bury himself on the depth chart, or didn't do something, put it that way. I don't know if it's just he can't play or if he did something wrong, but for whatever reason, he's in the doghouse. And he's not coming out.
I've been saying that all year. I just don't understand how we haven't. At this point, I don't understand how we've never seen Jakari Williams touch the field. It's mind-boggling to me. It has to be something behind the scenes.
Correct. There's something that hasn't been put out to the public, but for whatever reason it is, he's just buried himself.
Yeah. Because you would have thought it would have been him before Filardi.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
So bizarre. So bizarre.
I think there's a lot to take away from it, and I'll tell you another thing that I noticed today. I haven't seen Fran coach this hard all season long.
Oh, he was into it. He was. Did you see him yelling at the refs?
Yeah, the refs. And then when Kerr got beat on that play that went up the middle, the crossing route that there was no safety there to cover.
Right.
He went in and he whipped the defensive backs, but then he took Raheem Long off to the side and coached him for a good 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And he's not quitting. The team's not quitting. So you have to have some respect for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The one thing that I don't even stress about is the recruiting. Like everyone, we're going to lose these recruits. Like, no, you don't have these late flips happening as you're a 3-win football team if Fran didn't have a solid grasp of the recruiting. Like, I really don't think those guys are going anywhere.
Yeah, you never would have gotten Hughes or that kid from Penn State, that defensive lineman that came over.
Yep.
You wouldn't have gotten either one of them if there was an issue with recruiting.
Which is, I will say, I think Fran is pretty one of one in that. It takes a special coach to be able to hold on to recruits of this caliber in this messy of a season. Like that's different. That's a different level of recruiting chops right there.
I will tell you the biggest question mark of what you're losing next year, I would be surprised. Let me rephrase that. I wouldn't be surprised if Nixon doesn't come back.
Jeff Nixon?
Yes.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, you know this. He was interviewing with the Houston Texans for an offensive coordinator job in the NFL. I'll tell you this. I hope if they lose him to the NFL. Because if they lose him to another college program, people are going to write this ridiculous narrative like, oh, they couldn't hang on to him. Like, oh, Syracuse is a stepping stone, this, and that. If they lose him to the NFL, anybody can look at that and just be like, okay, it's the NFL. Like, no brainer.
Yeah, I think he would be he could be a head coach at a smaller school in college, but I think he's an NFL coordinator. That's the type of offense he runs, and I think that's where he belongs.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a pro-style offense. They'd love it in the NFL, which makes a lot of sense that he's been interviewing there. Do you feel good about backfilling that? Like, I feel like they still have guys on the staff.
The replacements on the staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Evan Gaddis, Josh Gaddis. Listen, Josh Gaddis would be the replacement for sure.
Yeah, so I feel good about backfilling it for sure.
Yep.
Anything else, Nick? I mean, the floor is yours, my man.
I think we covered enough, don't you, Gio?
I do. I appreciate you always, my man.
Yeah, same. I'll be talking to you, well, not next week, but enjoy the bye week, and we'll talk for Notre Dame.
All right, sounds good. I'll look forward to it.
All right, bro. Take care.
All right, be well. That's Nick Aquino calling in, as always, from out in Vegas to talk some Syracuse football with us. If you want to call in, the number is 315-437-7644. Phone lines are certainly open as we continue to scour through the chat here, and seems like we have some debate taking place in the chat. Always good-spirited debate, no question about it. But give us a ring. Call in, chime in with your thoughts. I think it's a good time to shift gears and talk some Cuse hoops here. Let's brighten the mood a little bit in this post-game show and talk a little bit of Syracuse men's basketball, who mopped up on Delaware State in the Dome. 83-43, the final score. Syracuse with a ho-hum 40-point win, and I know a lot of people are sitting here, your casual fans, like, oh, it's a nice win for the Cuse and this, and that. But Syracuse wasn't winning games like this by 40 points the last handful of seasons, especially not last year. And they're doing it now. 83-43, the final score. All right, we got phone lines are open, like I mentioned. We got a caller on the line that I've heard a lot about, so I'm looking forward to this. It's Pat in Syracuse. Pat, how you doing? Good to be talking to you for the first time, my friend.
Gio, what's good, man? What's good?
I've heard so many good things about you, so I can't wait to chat. But what are your thoughts? You can't have anything that bad to say. They won by 40 today.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm seeing, it's the least amount of points they've given up. So
yeah, no, the defense has been sharp. I feel really good about the defense.
I mean, just looking player by player, I think 3 or 4 players are kind of ahead of schedule. I didn't think Sadiq had that type of offensive game that he's shown at times. Everybody knew he was an athlete and played good defense, but he's a little ahead of schedule for this time of the year, which is good. Anthony's definitely ahead of schedule on offense and defense. Obviously Sadiq turned his ankle, but that didn't seem to be an issue. What are you hearing on JJ and the hamstring?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything super specifically.
But
Yeah. I mean, from my take, I don't know anything super specifically, like source-wise, but again, it looked like hamstring, which was noted. I'm not worried. I think it's like completely precautionary. Like, for instance, like this is an example, right? Like I always say, just as an analogy, like they'll put you in a boot for a hangnail in games like this, right? Like basically what I'm saying is there's no need to play him, right? There's no need. You're playing Delaware State. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't play till they go out to Vegas. That's just complete speculation. That's just my opinion. But like at this rate, if you don't need him, wouldn't you want him to be as healthy as possible? Maybe you play him the game before you go to Vegas because you still want him to get in the rhythm, get in the rotation, get in the mix. But like if they don't need him, you want him to be as healthy as possible. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he fits as good with the rest of the pieces as some of the other guys, because when you look at some of the other guys on the roster, I mean, Freeman's starting to get the three going. You're not getting a 3-point shot out of the 5 unless Freeman's at the 5. And some teams do have the 3-point threat from the 5 position, obviously in college and in the pros. And, you know, I think Kings is still trying to find the speed of the game a little bit. I mean, he came in at 45%, and he's nowhere near that. Hopefully that'll improve. But when I look at shooting, I mean, George is a little bit below average for an ACC point guard from shooting. So when you mix him and Starling, and then you look at your, you know, those two, and then, you know, you really put too much pressure on Kings to be a shooter and spread the floor. obviously Freeman can spread the floor, and Anthony's, shooting it well. But I guess that's the point is, right now JJ's probably overall has a lot more experience than Cayenne, but Cayenne has a better toolbox to me. He's bigger, he's stronger. He's, he finishes even at the rim better. He's just not quite as fast as JJ. He's got a better shot. I think he's got a better feel for the game. He's a much better ball handler, and he's a better passer. I mean, do you disagree with any of that?
No, honestly, I don't. Maybe the burst out of JJ, which is something that'll probably come.
The speed. Yeah. His first step can be great, but it's tough to judge JJ too with the injuries and with the lack of talent last year with Carlos. And then the injury to Donnie. So, look, it's been a super long 4 years. Lots of things to be negative about. But I look back, to the last 20 years and being on the airways, fighting the haters that were overcritical of Syracuse and any of the people that have just heard over the last 3 or 4 years, there was a lot to be critical about. There was a lot to not be happy about.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, two of my favorite players just didn't have good finishes here at Syracuse. Richmond and Copeland we're just fun guys to watch, and that's what college basketball is about. It's about having fun, watching the games. You know what? Some people can be critical. That's fine. Some people could care less, and if anybody's critical, they have a problem with that. That's fine too. It's all good. They have the talent to compete. I am still concerned overall with the bulk. I really thought maybe the dude from Georgia Tech was going to have a little bit more strength. I mean, at least a little bit. He doesn't have it at all. Kyle's been impressive, but he is undersized. I mean,
sure.
He can block shots and do well in this league, and he might lead the league in block shots, but it doesn't mean that somebody with 15, 20, 25 pounds on him is just going to chest up and score over him. So we'll see what happens. I think the key to the season is this. I think you have to play fast. You probably have one or two more guys than most guys in the league that can play in the rotation. So you have to play fast, and you can't grind it out with teams that are more physical than you. And then that's the fear I have with some of these teams. Is are they going to just out-physical Syracuse? And that's why I think Cayenne at the 2 can make you just a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger. What have you thought of George so far? His turnovers are hopefully from lack of chemistry.
Yeah, no, I'm not too terribly worried about the turnovers. Mostly because again, it's the first couple of games here.
Right.
The thing is, like, maybe this is a good thing. Is he's not dropping my jaw in any way, obviously, when it comes to scoring. I mean, he had 7 points tonight. I want to say he had like 10 in the first game. I'd have to go back and look again, which I think is a good thing for this team because you want him to be the facilitator, right? You want him to engineer the point. You didn't want to have to rely on him in scoring. When he can score, that's like sugar on top, added bonus. But they've been so effective scoring with everybody else that you feel pretty good about it. I'd like to see him defend more against, we're just not going to see it until they play better competition, but ACC level guards, we'll get obviously a great taste of that when they go play in Vegas against Houston, Kansas, and hopefully somebody else of similar stature.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just think the sample size is so small. I wanted to go back to what you had to say about both Cayenne and William Kyle. I think William Kyle, and I hear what everybody's saying as far as his bulk, and I think you're going to learn a lot when you see him play Houston because Houston's brand of basketball is incredibly physical, kind of enforce their will on you type of basketball, strong defense. So I think we're going to learn a lot when they play Houston, particularly with what Syracuse has in the paint and at the 5 position. But I think Kyle's going to play a couple inches taller than he is because he can jump out of the gym.
Well, what I look at with a big like him, okay, he doesn't have a big chest or huge shoulders, but he has super long arms. But the biggest thing that is a positive, he has very strong legs, and it's not just be seen with his vertical. I mean, when he has great balance, so hopefully that balance will keep him in his defensive spot because that's the key.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, but. When you look at the talent over the last 3-4 years, and then you look at it this year, I think it more comes down to what are we going to run, how are we going to play, and what rotations are we going to have so we can constantly have 2 or 3 shooters out on the floor. I think Tyler Bessie, somebody we haven't talked about, is a key thing. But it seems to me that if he's on the floor, then that probably means A, Cayenne probably isn't, or B, Freeman or Sadiq isn't. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, who is going to be the odd man out? And maybe if we can just focus on the matchup and let that dictate it, I think that's going to be a big key. Autry's starting to breathe a little bit. I think he's trying to put a stamp on things. Jury's still out on him, but this is a tournament team, and if it doesn't happen, we'll be having a different narrative in March.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think roster-wise, this is 1,000% a tournament team. And at this point, I know it's only 2 games. I think we've seen that the talent's there. They have to make the tournament this year. They have to. Otherwise, that's probably a red problem and a coaching problem because this is a tournament roster. I really don't think there's a doubt about it.
Let me leave you with this. I mean, in the day of college basketball now, to get a good recruiting class, a good crop of transfers, and, 2 really maybe not all conference players, but with JJ and Donnie, I mean, they're right there when they're at their best. So I think with all that said, I don't know how else you could make a tournament team. I mean, look what Louisville did in 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to have that kind of jump. I think it's possible. I mean, I just think we have to see how JJ goes and see if we can just spread the wealth. Thanks, Gio.
Appreciate you.
It's been fun, man.
Yeah, man.
You got it, man.
Look forward to talking to you as the year goes on. That is Patrick in Syracuse. So we appreciate him chiming in. Like I said, heard all the stories. So looking forward to chatting with him as the year continues to evolve. I think we have to clap it up. For Alex Klein, the general manager of this Syracuse men's basketball team, and Red Autry for the roster they assembled. Because it's not easy to hit in the portal the way that they seem to be doing. And even further, these rookies, these freshmen they're bringing in, like, think about Donnie was a recruit from the get-go for Cuse. Now he might be their best player. Then Kai and Anthony. Let's not pretend that was just easy because it was Melo's kid. Like, that was a hard get. Like, I think Syracuse always had the upper hand, but I didn't feel 100% confident coming off the heels of a 14-win season that Cayenne was going to choose Syracuse when it was all said and done. So that was huge to get Cayenne. Sadiq White, he's the bigger recruit when it comes to all the recruiting experts and the accolades and everything like that. He's the bigger get than Cayenne Anthony. They've done a really nice job, and they even took a gamble in a way in going to get William Kyle and said, here's a guy that didn't produce a ton at UCLA, but we see the freak athleticism. We see that he can fit what we want to do, the brand of basketball we want to play. He can get up the floor and run. He can jump out of the gym. He's going to be able to make big plays for us. They even took a little bit of a gamble, rolled the dice on a player like that. So I think it's so much worth applauding Alex Klein and Red Autry for assembling the roster that they have. Give us a ring. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. Going to scour through the chat here and see what everyone's got to say. Let's see. Philly's Most Wanted says, I've been saying the same thing about next football season. Oh, that's football. Yeah. Here's to hoping we're both proven right. Very exciting basketball season ahead. Can't wait. 100%. Everyone's saying I didn't get Pat in full force. I know. Well, hopefully I don't have to, and Syracuse keeps rolling. But we'll see. Got to have Kings in there, best perimeter defender and best perimeter shooter. New arena, new system, new environment. It's a lot to adjust to. Once he's fully acclimated, he'll be integral. I agree. I do think he is a really, really strong defender, and that's why he's there and playing the minutes he's playing, I believe. It has nothing to do with the offense. The 26 minutes is rooted in his defensive ability. Philly says, well said, Gio. Klein and Red did a masterful job this last season. Yeah. Red did what he needed to address the complete. Yeah. 100%. Hats off to them. Hats off to them also, whether that's the university donors. I don't know exactly who to give the credit to, but they reinvested. They diagnosed the issue last year and invested the resources to make this team what it is. That's just the era we're in now. These kids are getting paid handsomely, as they should. But this team, I'm sure, and I think this is public knowledge and has been addressed, so it's not like I'm breaking any news here. This team has a lot more resources. This is a more expensive team. So that's why you have even more pressure to meet the expectations, get to the tournament. I certainly think they have the roster to do so. I can't wait to see him play somebody good. But we went back to that metric of strength of record and victory margin of defeat, margin of victory. They're rewarding you for beating bad teams by a lot. They're rewarding you for beating good teams by a lot. They're punishing you for keeping it close with a bad team or losing to a bad team. They're punishing you for getting blown out by a good team. Margin of victory is huge now. And you're also getting rewarded for keeping it close but still losing to a really, really good team. Like if Syracuse goes to Cameron Indoor and loses by 3, that'll still bode well for the Orange, right? I went through the schedule in the pregame show for the season opener against Binghamton, and I picked game by game what I think they're going to do. I still stand by what I said in that pregame show. They're going to go 24-7. Okay, 24-7. That's good for a top 6 finish in the ACC. So you're looking at a bye in the ACC tournament. That's good for a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. I think they'll win a game or 2 in the ACC tournament because I think the league is better this year. All your good teams stayed good from a ACC that has been behind compared to years past. All your good teams stayed good. Carolina looks great. They just beat a good Kansas team last year, right? And then Duke's going to be good. Now you have Virginia back. NC State's going to be good, who has not been good. You have Louisville, who's good. Can Syracuse get into the mix? Virginia Tech, really nice win today over Providence. That kid from Greece I told everybody about, that Neo kid, he dropped 30 points. So there's teams in the ACC that are going to make some noise. 33, actually. 33 points. There's teams in the ACC that are going to make some noise. And I think the league's going to be better. I think Syracuse, if they go 24-7, you're feeling good about that. Everyone in the chat saying, no, 22-9 at best, likely 21-10. I disagree. I went through, I had them losing to all the good teams. Losing at NC State. Losing at Duke. Had them splitting with Carolina. They win in the Dome. They lose in Chapel Hill. Had them losing to Virginia. The only upsets I had them losing to Houston and Kansas and winning the other one. Or I had them going 1-2 in Vegas. The only upset, so to speak, I have, because I do think they can pull some games off, had them beating Tennessee, and I had them pulling one off at Louisville. Just random, Yum Center, just they're going to win one. Granted, that's with them. Oh, and I had them losing to Pitt. Like, they're going to drop one or two that they shouldn't as well because it's college basketball. So it's like they'll lose to Pitt. They'll go pull off an upset at Louisville. They'll lose to the teams they should lose to, like Carolina once and Duke and NC State. Had them losing to Virginia. Like, guys, my 24-7 wasn't anything insane. Look at the schedule. I don't have them beating anybody crazy. The biggest upset, so to speak, would be them probably beating Tennessee, would be the biggest upset, or going to win at Louisville. But I stand by it. I don't have them beating anybody crazy. Orange picked 9th in the conference. I hear you, but like Arizona State football was picked to finish dead last in the Big 12 last year, and they won the Big 12 championship and went to the college football playoff. Like, preseason rankings don't mean jack. They mean nothing. Nothing. Period. Doesn't mean a thing. Don't care about preseason rankings at all. Half the time, the people that get votes don't pay deep attention to the rest of the league anyways. That's not everybody. That's not everybody at all. Actually, it's probably a smaller sample size, but there's people that vote on these things that they don't know what Syracuse's roster truly looks like and the investments that have been made and this, that, and the other. Also, nobody expected Kyan Anthony to be as good as he's been. They're doing it without J.J. Starling. What's it look like when he's in the mix? Like, preseason pick 9th. I agreed at the time. I think they're better than that. And preseason rankings don't really make a ton. At Louisville and Tennessee, or 2 of the 6 toughest games of the year. I mean, I agree they are 2 of the toughest games of the year, but I just said I have them losing to Houston, Kansas, Duke, Carolina, Virginia, NC State. Like, I still have them losing games. Pitt, I had them losing to Pitt. Like, I still have them losing games. You had 3 scorers in double figures in this one. Donnie goes 6 of 8 from the floor, 7 of 10 at the stripe, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, scores 20 points. Donnie's a beast. Donnie's really, really good. I'm really excited about Donnie Freeman. By the way, the number to call, 315-437-7644 if you want to chime in. Probably wrap it up shortly, so, if you want to call in, this would be the time. We've been going for 46 minutes, so this would be the time if you want to give it a ring, 315-437-7644. Donnie's been fantastic. Ken Palm has him at 68. Okay. Playing game will be fine. I mean, dude, they just got to get to the tournament. I think if you get to the tournament, Cuse fans are fine. Feeling okay. They just got to get to the tournament. I think they're better than that, though. Kyan, 8 of 11, 4 assists, 19 points, 29 minutes. It's just awesome. I want to go a little bit more in depth on Kyan for a second here, though. I don't know if we're all ready, because it's already happening. I don't know if we're ready for the insane national attention that Syracuse basketball and Kyan Anthony is going to get if Syracuse is good, ranked in the top 25, winning big-time basketball games. I don't know if we're ready for it. If Syracuse goes out to Vegas and pulls one off against number 2 Houston or beats Kansas or whatever, the national attention is going to be bonkers surrounding Kyan Anthony. Already right now, ESPN, SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all these huge national college basketball accounts that I've never even seen post anything about Syracuse before today are going nuts about Kyan Anthony. Top sports trading cards just did a debut card, 1 of 1, with a chunk of his sneaker on the Nike swoosh in the card. It's going for uber money online, a booming industry right now in sports trading cards and memorabilia, and Kyan Anthony's the centerpiece. Like, the national attention that Syracuse basketball is going to get because of this kid, especially if they're winning, is through the roof. And the fact that he's popping off early is that much better for Syracuse right now. That's going to help recruiting. That's going to help fill seats in the dome. That's going to help get Syracuse big games. Like, there's a reason Syracuse is playing North Carolina on ABC. ESPN people are ahead of the curve on that. There's only a couple of ACC games this year on ABC, national television. There's only a couple of ACC games that are played in that slot. It's primetime, ABC, Syracuse, Carolina, in the Dome. Kyan Anthony is a big part of that. And I think that it is just so, so cool to see. Like, if you're a Syracuse fan, remember throughout the year, if it goes the way we're hoping it goes, and Cuse is good, and Cuse is back, and Cuse is competitive, and Cuse is ranked or winning big games, and the Dome is full again, like, remember what it was like when it wasn't like that. When they hit rock bottom and won 13 or 14 games. When the Dome was empty. When you could get tickets for $4 right before tip-off because nobody wanted to go. Like, just remember that, because it's going to make the moment so much sweeter when this team's back and when all the national spotlight's on Kyan Anthony because his name says Anthony on the back. And the kid is handling the moment so well. He is nailing it. Like, his dad is a vet and taught him exactly what to say and how to say it. Like, he's been incredibly humble. He's been grateful to be there. He's said all the right things. He's handled the spotlight incredibly well because he's lived in it for his entire life. The kid probably practices against like former pros like Amari. He probably grew up practicing against Amari Stoudemire and guys like that, right? He's no stranger to the spotlight, but he's handling it so incredibly well. The thing that I absolutely loved was after the game today in the post-game interview, the first thing he said, he's like, I just missed 3 free throws. I'm frustrated I missed 3 free throws. Kid scored 19 points. Shot 8 of 11 from the floor, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. Kid went 1 of 4 from the stripe. He was mad that he missed 3 free throws. And then he said on Cuse Sports Talk after the game, you can find the clip on social media, he said, oh, man, I need to get in the gym. I'm going to the gym right after this. I got to get in the gym. I'm shooting 100 free throws tonight. He said it's unacceptable to miss 3 free throws. Let's go. Let's go. So, again, remember how empty the dome was at times when it's packed again. Appreciate it when North Carolina's in town. They're playing on ABC, primetime game, because those are big moments, big spots to be in. I think Anthony being here is a big reason as to why. Looking at some of the chat. Let's see. Let's see, everyone. Yeah. And Lala's a big part of that, too. I agree. It's not just Melo. Lala, of course. And she's lived a lot in the spotlight. She was at the game the other day. They were showing her on TV. So Lala and Melo, both for sure. Look at this. Michael B. Jordan is posting on his Instagram story about Kyan. I mean, it's huge. Cuse is in the house, says, I'm the king of overreactions. We beat the Clemson team and Fran Brown might not be back, and we beat Binghamton and Delaware State, and we're world beaters. Bro, don't pretend that we weren't all on cloud 9 after Syracuse went down to Clemson and took care of business. Come on now. We were all feeling it after that. We didn't know what Ricky was going to be. We didn't know what the quarterback position was going to look like. All we saw was Steve Angeli was leading the nation in passing. The defense went down there and were lights out. And Cuse football looked like it was going to be seriously competitive this year. So I don't like the take. And then Binghamton and Delaware State. Yeah, I hear you. They played Binghamton and Delaware State. But they haven't been beating teams by 40 in a minute. They haven't been beating teams by 40 even when Boeheim was still the coach. It's been a minute. It feels good. So we're going to be positive. We're going to enjoy it. I'm not saying they're world beaters. I said I went through the list of games they're going to lose. But they're going to be competitive. They're going to be able to play at a high level, and they're going to make the NCAA tournament, and this is a good team. So I didn't say they're the number 1 team in the country. I don't agree with the take, but I appreciate the comment. Appreciate everybody interacting and everything like that. David says that Carolina's going to sweep them, and they haven't played anybody yet. We're going to find out really, really fast what they look like when they go to Vegas. We're going to find out really, really fast. But, guys, the defense is so much better than it's been, and they're winning by 40. That's where the excitement comes from. If they won by 20 and they still gave up 70 points, no, I'm not feeling this way. If they won the game 100-75, I'm not feeling this way. It's because they are surrendering 40 points a game right now. And it's the way it looks. It's an eye test type of thing. It just looks different than it's looked in the last handful of years. And I'm not just saying the Red Autry era. I'm probably saying the last 5 years or so. Pretty much since they made the tournament last. It's a 4-year drought. It hasn't looked like this in the 4-year drought. So that sign would indicate that hopefully this is a team that gets back to the tournament. I think that they will. All right. We're going to air Red Autry's live press conference after the win today for Syracuse. We'll give a couple of quick thoughts at the tail end, and then we'll wrap up the show. That's coming up right now. So Jordan's got it for us. We got Red Autry's post-game press conference after Syracuse's 83-43 win over Delaware State. Here it is.
I thought our first half was was really good on both ends of the floor. I thought defensively, we really got after it. I thought we had some great possessions. I thought we communicated. We make them take tough shots. We got a couple of fouls that got them to the free throw line, or the defense would have been really pretty much lights out the first half. I thought Cayenne really set the tone in the first half on the offensive end by just getting to the basket, making some plays. But Will Cal and Donnie, Will Cal was a man tonight. I just thought he really set the tone, on the offensive glass and defensive glass, and just protecting the rim, and that's what we need from him. I thought he really set the tone for us, and I like where Sadiq was at. Sadiq came back and gave us some energy today, and flew around a little bit. Tyler Betsy, our whole front court really came in, and I thought all of those guys did a really good job. Overall, so I was, things that we have to work on, continually work on and get better at, obviously. But, I thought our defensive effort was there, for at least, about 28 minutes of the game. We still got to work on having that intensity for 40 minutes and finishing plays. We got to do a little bit better job of finishing plays, but it's only our second game. We just got to keep getting better. And that's what we'll do. When we get back in the next week, just continue to focus on things that we need to get better at. Questions?
What impressed you about Cayenne and Donnie today?
I thought Cayenne really, set the tone, because sometimes, as a scorer, you can, not as a scorer, he's a basketball player, first of all. That's what I really want to say. People keep saying, I know he says a 3-level scorer. He's a really good basketball player. He can pass, he can score, he can make plays. So, but I thought him, getting to the rim aggressively, I thought Donnie getting to the rim aggressively set the tone, right? We didn't settle, right? We took a couple of threes that we gotta talk about that, but I thought overall, the first probably 10 shots, we really got to the basket.
Cayenne was making his first college start today with J.J. out. Did you say anything to him before the game, or even this past week leading up to it?
Yeah, no, I said something to him this morning. He's starting.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, Adrian, what will happen when you get the 3 stops or 3 X's happen up on the floor? Like, what would you like the crowd to do?
I would like the crowd to go crazy, because that's such a, that's very hard to do, to get 3 stops in a row. And that's just something that we've really worked on the defensive end, to get that a defensive identity. It's some statistics behind it. So we're always, trying to hunt and get stops. Again, not relying on our offense. And again, today was a perfect example. Offense is still kind of choppy, but our defense, did its job, and it allowed us to, get some easy points in transition. And it allows us to get our offense when it gets going, that can kind of create the separation, which, I thought we did that in the second half.
Greg, you mentioned a couple times how much of a focus defense was in the offseason. What would you put at the top of that list? Was it, like you mentioned, 40-minute intensity? Was it you got to get back to basics, a little bit of everything? What was your focus in trying to get the defense better?
Mentality, disruptive. Those are the words we talked about, being disruptive, hunting, those are the words that we describe. That's how we play. We don't want anyone to be comfortable. We want to get after people, and we're going to give us some stuff. That's fine. But everything is contested, whether it's a jump shot, at the rim, anything, right? That's what we worked on this summer. And it is really about the mentality, because defense is about a mentality, and that's what we're continuing to work on and improve it. We're not there yet, but, right, this is, a start in the right direction, so.
Adrian, how did the tracking of kills come about? And was anyone on your staff responsible for tracking a number? And is there a certain number you're trying to hit in the game?
Yeah, it's a certain number, but I'm not going to give those numbers up. But no, we've, I think it was just a collective group of just watching programs. Every really good defensive program, they have whatever their thing is, and we had a little bit of help. But overall, I think it helped us, and it helped our guys to really kind of, really buy into it. And again, it's not there yet. We're just in the infancy stages of it.
What's the buy-in been like?
Players today, what does it mean to build rotational depth early in the season?
I think this is the way this team is going to be successful. We recruited it that way. That's my vision. And, we're going to play 8 or 9 guys. 9 guys, that's what we'll probably play. Not probably, we will play. That's how we're going to play this year. All right, so, I know you guys will have some questions afterwards, later on in the season, but that's how we're going to play. That's how this team is going to be successful. That's why the intensity and the level that we play at has to be at a certain level to execute the vision and the plan for us.
Coach, what's the buy-in been like? You talk about defensively this year. Like, how have you seen your players kind of buy into the mentality you want them to have, especially?
I think they've really, having JJ and Donnie coming back, and then just through the process, a lot of the recruiting process, when we went to the portal, we wanted to recruit guys that kind of played both sides of the ball, or they came from a certain program that was known for that. It was a little bit of both, so the buy-in was a little bit easier.
In terms of that defensive mentality, how does that stretch over to when teams get inside the paint and how tough you want those big men to be?
We got a challenge. They're going to get into the paint, right? But we can't give up. We got a challenge, right? We got to be disruptive. We got to contest. We got to fight, right? That's what we have to do.
Was keeping JJ out more of a precautionary thing today?
No, I think it's he's not ready yet, but we expect him back pretty soon.
Coach, it's very clear that Kyan Anthony is very popular with people. I'm from here, from New York, to see him play. What is it like for you to see that development and to know that Melo did all that work?
I think first of all, I really, when you talk about Melo, someone in not only just Kyan, but all of the players on my team, and their families entrusting us with their kids means a lot, right? It means a lot. The one thing about Kyan is it's exciting to see he's nowhere near what he can be. And to watch him continually grow and continually make effort every day, and that's the challenge, for him. And the way he handles himself, I marvel at the way that he's just one of the guys, and he comes in and he works like the rest of the guys. So I'm excited to play a small part of continually pushing and challenging him and developing him.
Brad, you guys had a 22 points off the bench tonight. What do you hope to see from a couple of those other guys coming off the bench to make even more of an impact, especially later on in the season?
Just do what we ask them, play hard, be aggressive, offense and defense. That's really it. We do, again, I'm not putting these guys in a box. These guys, some of our guys that come off the bench, a lot of them could start. And so, I want them to come in there, and when it's their time on the court, play, right? We don't want to be passive. If we're going to make mistakes, we're going to make aggressive mistakes, all right? That's what I want them to continue to do that.
Time for one more. Coach, looking at William Kyle, just his first couple games, play around the rim, what you've seen from him inside.
He's been tenacious in my opinion. He's used his speed, he's used his strength, he's used his motor. I think people are starting to see, I think today he had 4 assists. And I think once he got here, you realize that he can do some more things. He can put it on the floor a little bit. He has a great field pass. And again, he's still, he's a guy that, I love because he plays with that chip and he plays with that emotion.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that is the head coach of the Orange, of course, Red Autry. So appreciate that we were able to get that up. Shout out to Jordan for collecting that and getting that up for us right there. So if you have any thoughts on what Coach had to say, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you want to call in, now's your final chance to do so. 315-437-7644. Get them in now because we're wrapping up. But Syracuse, again, wins a good one on the basketball court, 83-43. Against Delaware State, the football team. Just as I was sitting there and scrolling through, saw Bleacher Report posting Fran Brown slamming Gatorade bottles and yelling at the guys on the sideline. I want to end the football thought on this. I have full faith in Fran that they're going to figure it out. Like, I see you guys in the chat saying Fran could win 10 games next year. And I completely agree with that. That I think Fran can get this program back to what it was last year. They're young, man. They're young. This is like a youth renaissance for Syracuse football. And you see the talent there. Antoine Delaware, Demetrius Samuel Jr. You see more reinforcements coming, right? Huge. You see them coming, and I think they're going to stick. Those commitments out of Calvin Russell are going to stick. The new guy, the flip in Hughes, flipping from Florida State to Syracuse. Like, they're going to be all right. The quarterback got hurt. I say it every week. The quarterback got hurt. When Tom Brady got hurt and tore his ACL week 1, the Patriots did not win the division. They did not make the playoffs. It's okay. They're going to be okay. Fran's still the guy. We still love Fran. Let's back this football team. Might be a rough couple of weeks, though, to end things out in 2025. So, looking through some of the quotes that Fran had to say after the game, sometimes good, sometimes bad. It was a mixture of up and down. Talking about Ricky Collins, said he helped us keep the ball sometimes. I mean, they got some first downs at times, I guess. Did throw 2 interceptions, so that's why Fran said sometimes, I guess. Fran's been big on they still feel like they're winning the week. Like, they don't win on Saturday, but they're winning the week. And I know you have to win on Saturday, but, like, the culture is still there. This team is still super engaged. And I'm with it. I'm with it. I think they're going to be all right. On the basketball front, I'm stoked. Basketball looks good. Upcoming schedule for basketball. Let's take a quick peek at that, because it's right around the corner that things are going to get fiery for the Orange. 2-0 start. They got Drexel. That's away from the Dome at Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philly. That's on Saturday, so no midweek game for the Cuse. 3:30 on Saturday. On Peacock, they'll play Drexel. They'll play Monmouth in the Dome on Tuesday, that next Tuesday. Then, boom, they're off to Vegas. Houston on a Monday night at 6 on the 24th. Kansas on the 25th. They'll play again on either the 26th or 27th, hopefully. And we'll see what kind of caliber opponent they draw in that. So it's coming. Excited to see them play Drexel on Saturday. And sad that we have to wait the whole week, really. Bye week for football, so there's no football this week. Be sure to hang out with us all week long, though. Steve and Paulie got you with Orange Nation noon to 2 every day on ESPN Syracuse and Cuse Sports Talk. Tim Leonard's got you with Drive Time, of course, from 5 to 6 every weeknight. And then we'll have you covered. We'll have you covered for basketball pregame and postgame, and we'll have you for football as well to round out the year. But lots of basketball stuff. We're starting to kind of turn that page a little bit. Crossover season's fun. Would be really fun if it was a little more like last year. Imagine this basketball team with a football team like last year. Be on cloud 9. Be heaven. Let's get there next year. Next year's the year. But it was a fun one. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Appreciate everybody in the chat giving great stuff to talk about. Appreciate all of our callers. Nick came in, had some great stuff to say. Finally got to talk to the infamous Pat. So, Pat, appreciate you if you're still tuned in. You guys are the best. You guys make it fun. And we always love chatting with all of you. For Jordan's the real man, though. Magic doesn't happen without him. He even brought the sad violin music today. He got us the press conference. Got to hang out, have some coffee, watch the games with Jordan. We had the 3 screens going. We were watching some national stuff, had some basketball on, had the Cuse football game on. We had it all going on here in the studio, so it was a fun afternoon. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate Jordan. We'll talk to you next time. As always, this was a presentation of Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse. 83-43, Syracuse basketball wins it over Delaware State. 38-10, Miami takes down Syracuse on the gridiron. I'm Giovanni Heater saying so long. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you this week.